Good afternoon. Today is an exciting day. Our virtual lunch and learn presented by Power the Vote. And today we're going to be talking about weatherization, empowering communities through weatherization, which is such a critical and important issue in our communities. And I'm also happy to say we're highlighting Power Up, an organization within NCLCVF that has led the charge on this work, starting back in 2015. Power Up started with voter registration and then seeing the importance of continuing to build in communities. And through having conversations and seeing the community needs, two things came to the front: utility bills and jobs. And from that, Power Up set out to say, how can we connect these issues with the community? So no community should have to worry about if they're going to pay a utility bill or food for their family or medicine. And we've seen that weatherization was a critical piece that was so important for our communities and a way to empower them. So today we're going to have some great conversation, great panelists. And before we get into that, we're going to have a great video that features our Congresswoman, Deborah Ross, as well as our Power Up team and other folks that have been critical in making this happen. So we're going to go ahead and start to the video now.
Hello, League of Conservation Voters. I'm Deborah Ross, the representative for the 2nd Congressional District, and I just want to thank you for all the work that you have done on energy issues and on climate change. But you know what? You also think about how different policies will affect people's everyday lives. And the fact that you have been working hard on weatherization and making sure that people have the resources to upfit their homes so that they can conserve energy and spend less on their energy bills is really, really important. It's a value that I share. I worked on these issues when I was in the General Assembly. I've brought these issues up on the Energy Subcommittee of Science, Space, and Technology because we can come up with all the different ways that we can think of to create more energy, but the most important thing is to conserve it. And for people who can't afford to weatherize their homes, we need to provide that assistance, and President Biden has a plan to do that in the budget reconciliation. Build Back Better. Not only will this save money for the people whose houses are weatherized, not only will it conserve energy and electricity, but it will create really good jobs doing that weatherization work. So I am 100% for these programs at the federal level and at the state level, and I want to thank you for your advocacy and everything that you do. I am working hard for you in Washington.
My name is Yvette Jones. I am the Regional Field Director of Power Up North Carolina in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We're a project of the North Carolina League of Conservation Voters Foundation. We're a group of statewide community members, community leaders, organizers who work together on environmental justice, economic justice, and racial justice issues. As a new organization, Power Up decided to work on weatherization as we went from voter registration program. We saw that we needed to educate the communities that we were working in on environmental issues. So we thought that weatherization was a good introduction to do that. This is a program retrofitting homes. Doing this pilot program was a good introduction to the community that they could understand and feel issues that affect them and understand climate change and the environment. So we chose that as one of our pilot programs. In doing that, we also thought it would be a great idea to include job training so that people could hopefully get jobs from the training that they received. The benefits we've seen while doing the weatherization work, we went from the pilot program into the weatherization assistant program to continue, because looking at the smiles, the joy, the release of pressure on people's faces really made a difference when they found out how their energy bill had changed drastically. It was a beautiful thing to see. We also were able to get people jobs. There were, in the pilot program, where we did job training through a partnership that we have, we were able to get 5 people employed from that. So we realized how important that is in communities, getting a job, knowing that their bills have been lowered so that they can pay for medical bills. They can, someone even started a savings from what they've benefited from this program.
My name is Robert Rogers. We got started in weatherization in 2013, about 5 years after opening the company. The city of Greensboro had a federally funded program where they were going to help homeowners throughout the city improve energy, reduce the carbon footprint, as well as help them get their homes up to or improve their energy output at the home. So we got into that program that lasted about 2 years through the funding, and it was really good that we got to see a lot of homes in the area and put in, install insulation both in the crawl space and attic, and make some energy improvements within the interior of the home. Power Up has been a major factor in a lot of helping homeowners improve their home. Some of the homeowners, those who cannot afford the improvements themselves, and Power Up has fostered that work in the homes to make the home more energy efficient and reduce the cost on the client for as far as paying those bills and going through that process. So Power Up has been a major impact on it. Some of the positives are the homeowners' utility bills decrease, so they save money in that fact. Homeowners feel more comfortable in the home, the indoor air quality and the output, they're more comfortable in their homes. There are a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurship in weatherization, and we're able to help clients improve their energy performance of their homes, save on their utility bills, and make a positive impact in the environment by reducing the carbon footprint. So the process of building a company and expanding that company within the Weatherization Assistance Program, or weatherization, is out there for us to become a positive company or positive entrepreneur in this business, in this industry. The job opportunities for energy auditors is really a good job for an individual. They get to learn some of the technical aspects of operating equipment like a blower door or duct blaster equipment, intermingling with clients face-to-face and talking to them about the aspects of insulation in their home, spray foam versus cellulose versus fiberglass, and learning those kinds of things in the process of having that job. The different variations, which is not very well known in the job market. You have to really be a part of the business, a part of the company, a part of the process to learn those type of things. And the job market is out there. The training is provided by the companies that work in the industry. So I think the job market is very good.
My name is Crystal Barnes. Getting my home weatherized has been very beneficial to me because it has, 1, decreased my bill, and 2, it really, it's been really great for me knowing that I've been able to help, decrease my carbon footprint, as well as just being comfortable in my home. I feel like the weatherization process has really shaped my thinking on environmental issues in the community, just by making me more aware, of my energy usage, even water usage. I know that's kind of a separate issue, but I'm just more aware of my carbon footprint in the environment. And I have been very active as far as spreading the message, because it's meant so much to me and it's made such an impact on my life. So I am finding myself being more active in the community and talking to people about it. I would really like to thank Power Up. I mean, this has really made a big impact on me and my family's life. And it's made an impact as I witnessed to so many others. And I just thankful for them actually caring about the environment and caring about the people in the community. So thanks, Power Up.
In organizing, we want to build knowledge on the power that people have. With knowledge, there is power. And with weatherization, it was simple. It met the people's needs. It's easy to translate to your neighbors, to talk about, the environment, the benefits of weatherization when you get this done. And when we go into the homes of people, we know that they have busy lives. They work, they have children, school education, even transportation. So many things they're thinking about. So we know that we have a small window of opportunity to get people's attention on the environment, because we want them to know that when you improve your life, you're also improving the environment. So weatherization was an excellent choice to do this because it makes a difference in the home as well as the environment. We can teach, educate, and grow new environmentalists from this program. And the information is shared, throughout the communities. It's growing, and it's something we'll continue to do as long as the program exists. So organizing is about making the change that we want to see. Sometimes we have to bring that to the forefront and help people realize from their busy lives what is important, that your family is important, that clean air, clean water, a safe place to live is important.
Wow, very powerful. And as you can see, weatherization is not only good for the environment, it creates jobs, and also important is equality. I think one thing that we all hold and Power Up and Power to Vote see is so important is when everyone is doing better, we're all doing better together and collectively. So super excited to hear from the panelists today. So I'm going to pass it off to our moderator, the great Pam Smith, to take it over from here.
All right. Thank you so much, Rashad. You're right. This is powerful. It's going to be a powerful discussion. But first, I would be remiss if we just didn't thank you. We thank you for your leadership in this space, your drive and your passion. And that's what allows us to serve each day. So we just want to say thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, this is a critical conversation, and I am super excited to moderate this panel. First, we want to go back and we want to thank U.S. Representative Deborah Ross for being with us on today. And we have some amazing panelists. I want to call them change agents because that's what they are. They are change agents in this space. So I'm super excited to bring them on. So first, I'm going to start with Monique McMillan. So Monique, welcome to the platform. How are you today? Monique, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. My name is Monique McMillan. I'm a director with Power Up NC, as well as an elected district supervisor for Cumberland County Soil and Water Conservation.
Thank you again for being with us on today, and thank you for all you do. Our next change agent, she is doing great work in Winston-Salem. Let's welcome Yvette Jones.
Hi, everyone. It's good to be here today. My name is Yvette Jones, and I'm the Regional Field Director in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Awesome. Thanks again, Yvette, for all that you do. Well, we're just ecstatic to have this next person with us. We are projects of NCLCVF, which comes under NCLCV. And so we're just excited to have a national representative today, that he would take the time out. You're going to hear that he's doing amazing stuff in DC, but he took the time out today to be with us and share this great information. So welcome, John. Welcome to the platform, John Royster.
Hello, I'm John Reuter. I'm the Director of State and Local Strategies, and I'm really just the political hack on this call. Frankly, it's much more exciting, I think, for me to be with all of you than for you to be with me. But my job is all about connecting the needs of local communities to federal decision makers. And so this really is like an exciting call for me because it's exactly, I think, what we need to be doing during this critical time and working with folks at our 31 state affiliates and their partners to make sure that people's voices are heard during this time.
Awesome. Awesome. So thanks again, John. We really appreciate you being here today. Well, as you heard on the video and as you heard Rashad say, we're all about community. So we couldn't do this without community. And so we're excited to have two community leaders on with us today, one with entrepreneurship and job training. Let's welcome Mr. Rob Roberts. Hi, Rob. How are you?
Hello, how are you, Pam? Thanks for the introduction. I'm Robert Rogers with the ESRA Facility Management, and we do facility management and home energy performance throughout Guilford County and surrounding counties. We've been in business now for 12 years, and we just enjoy making homes more energy efficient and saving clients money in their utility bills. So glad to be in the conversation today.
Awesome. Thank you. Again, we thank you for all that you do. And this young lady, we're excited to have her here, Crystal Barnes. We're going to bring her up. Crystal was a part of the weatherization program, but it excited her so much. It benefited her so much. And you're going to hear more about that now she's actually part of the team in just working with her community to make them aware of the benefits of weatherization. So welcome, Crystal.
Thank you so much. And I'm so happy to be here to share my experience with the weatherization program. It's been awesome.
Awesome. Well, we're just going to get started. And Monique, we're going to start with you. We heard a lot about Power Up in the video, but we want you to take this time and just take a deeper dive into what is Power Up, why this work is important.
Sure. Thank you, Pam. Power Up NC is an organizing program. We have been around for 7 years. We are across the state in 3 regions, the Triad, Triangle, and the Sand Hills. What we do is build campaigns that are shaped by community residents. And the campaigns focus on environmental justice issues through a racial equity lens. Part of our work is to connect the people's everyday lives to environmental justice and policy. And one of the ways we did that was through our Green Careers pilot program, which consisted of the instructional and hands-on job training, job placement, as well as the retrofitting of 10 homes. So through surveys and deep conversations with community members, one of the biggest concerns is so common is that people in low-income neighborhoods and Black and Brown communities are facing enormous utility bills due to lack of weatherization of their homes.
Awesome. So I actually want you to connect because we talk about Power Up and also Power to Vote NC, and we're known for organizing and voter registration. So can you help us connect organizing with weatherization in the frontline communities?
Well, the weatherization is an environmental issue. So that through, like I had stated before, through surveys and deep conversations, jobs and energy was one of the main issues that people were facing. So we had decided to create the Green Careers Pathways pilot program to show that connection between environmental justice and weatherization.
Okay. So Yvette, I want to bring you into this conversation. You've been involved in some great programs, and on the video, we heard about the success of those programs, but with everything, we know there's challenges, right? So we want you to expound a little more on the roadblocks to success. You're on mute, Yvette.
Sorry about that. So I'd like to start out by saying that the Weatherization Assistance Program is a free program, right? It's designed to lower the energy costs for low-income households, and by increasing the energy efficiency of the home. And when we talk to community members, I just simply describe it as a process of insulating the homes and sealing the homes so that to keep the air and the heat in. The program's been around for more than 40 years, but in the communities we serve, a lot of people don't know about the program. It's a two-part program. Eligibility is based on income, and your home is assessed. The house has to be assessed. So those who actually, make it through and pass, they are happy about the program, of course. But if the home is has issues, and then you would get a deferred. You would be deferred and be put on a list until any repairs or renovations can be made. The homes in the area we serve average the around 75 years. So, and many people grew up in their homes, second generation sometimes. The effects of climate change, like increased torrential rains, the storms, wind, high winds, and flooding over the years has caused the homes to have issues like leaky roofs, flooding in the basements, and of course, because of the age of the home, there's asbestos in the homes. So these conditions, long term, we know is causing health issues, and especially respiratory health issues. So when we tell people about the program, they're hopeful and they're happy, to have this chance of a free program, and that will change their lives. But any renovation falls on the burden of the homeowner. And there are programs that will finance the repairs, but when you're on a limited income and a limited fixed income, or making minimum wage, you're making a decision of whether to pay that bill, right? Or do I get the medicines I need? Do I put food on the table? So that dream kind of comes to a stop. Not everybody is financially able to move forward with the process. So homeowners, they have no other recourse, and it stops right there. So unlike renters, and this program is for homeowners as well as renters. It's a great program. They're not going anywhere. This is their home. They're in it to stay, right? But to make, to build back better, we need funding for the homeowners so that they can get the renovation done that's much needed, done on their homes where they're going to stay. We need to help those who are most in need.
Awesome. And so as you bring in the holistic view, we want John to jump on in at this time. That's a good segue to talk about the Build Back Better program, and what you actually do, and how that why LCV thinks that this is very important and wants to be a part of it.
Yeah, we're at this really critical point right now in Washington, D.C., where these two bills are moving through Congress together, right? And there's this bipartisan infrastructure deal, and there's also the Build Back Better Act, right? That just got set up by a vote this week, where all of the Democratic members of Congress voted to advance it and say, hey, let's figure out how to actually put together a package that's going to reach the full President Biden's agenda to really have a bold Build Back Better approach here. And these bills really working together and need to move together through Congress. But what do they actually do when we talk about weatherization here, right? And what's the opportunity that we have right now? So first, there's $3.5 billion in additional money for that weatherization assistance program, right? So that's more money into this program to do the kind of work that's happening today and that we're hearing about today in these communities. And that's a really key thing. And that's part of that bipartisan infrastructure deal. But there's also in the Build Better Act that's being written right now, right? Congressional committees are right now writing that and figuring out what's going to end up inside of it. And they've prioritized weatherization as being one of the components in that bill. And one of the things that we're fighting for right now is to establish a new energy and healthy homes retrofit program under HUD that would devote 25 billion over the next 10 years to retrofitting HUD assisted housing, but also an additional $10 billion over the next 10 years for non-subsidized housing. And we think these kind of programs, right, that help get at that, at those retrofitting and take a holistic approach to actually getting our housing where it needs to go, are a key part to the solution. Now, those rules are still being written, the bill is still being written. So will it solve all of these problems? Some of that's going to be up to us and the advocates that we do and the way that we talk to our decision makers and make sure that they know about these needs, which is why we're having panels like this, is to protect those needs forward and make sure that this information gets shared, gets talked about, and these key elements go through. The last thing I want to mention just at this point is the other thing we're trying to do is make sure this money actually gets to the communities that need it most. When you look back at the New Deal and you look back at the Great Deal under President Johnson, right, and we look at where the money went, it didn't always get to the communities that most actually needed it. It wasn't actually fairly distributed. And so that's why we're advocating for a provision called Justice 40, which is that 40% of all the money from these bills will go to communities that have been neglected in previous legislation, to low-income communities, to Black and Brown and other communities of color. How are we actually making sure these investments actually get to the people who need them most, and that everyone gets a fair deal out of this, and we're bringing up all of our communities together here, not just having it go to communities with people who look like me, right? That's just a really key element of this, of doing it right this time.
Awesome. Let's stay right there with how people can qualify. Can you tell us more about eligibility requirements?
Again, rules are being written right now, and I feel like there may be other folks who can talk about this weatherization assistance program and where that eligibility sits today, who are the real experts of actual implementation there. But it's really at this point right now where how it's going to look, how it's going to be shaped is still in a process of determination, and that's going to be an ongoing process, right? There are going to be decisions made. First, we need to make sure we secure this bill and pass this Build Back Better Act to move that forward and make sure we create a good framework. Then there's going to be decisions that are made by federal agencies where we need to keep advocating. And then also there's going to be decisions made at the state level. And we're going to count on good leaders, right? And we're going to make sure that the governors and others stand up and implement this thing right at the state level and distribute these funds in the right way and work with local communities and folks like Power Up to have that happen right. And what all of this underlines, right, is that theme of when we think about politics, so often we think about elections and we think about our vote on election day. But the reality is we're needed even more in the time period between elections to stand up, to make sure our voices are heard, and to make sure that the people that we put in office are standing up for us and are doing the right things and are helping get these things done. And they're really relying on our partnership to do those things, right? We have great leaders like the Congresswoman that we heard from. And so really it's about us standing side by side with them and making sure that the pressure is on to get this thing done and not have it get chipped away at, but actually delivering on that full vision and the money gets where it needs to go.
Awesome. Yvette or Monique, if you want to chime in, as John was talking about the national level and the federal funds, are there other requirements on your local programs?
I would just like, I would just like to add the eligibility that you brought up earlier. The income is the deciding factor, but people who are over the age of 60, families with one or more members with a disability, and families with children. So I would encourage people to look into it and apply for the weatherization as it is right now for this program.
Any addition, Monique?
Yeah, there's other pieces too that factor in. If there sometimes the people do need weatherization, but there's other things going on with their homes that disqualify them. It could be faulty wiring. It could be bad wiring, or just other factors that make it difficult for a company like Ursa to come in and do what they need to do. Because you can't get your roofs done. You can't, they're not going to prioritize leakage through toilets, and they're not going to put in new energy efficiency windows, even though these things are needed. And these are pieces that we would like to see added to the weatherization criteria. And back to what John says, it's going to trickle down. When it passes from that Build Back Better plan, it comes through the federal. And once it gets to the state, that is our chance to put the push on and try to influence whoever the decision makers are that are creating that criteria to change the criteria to make it more accessible and so that more community members have access to that resource.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Robert, I'm going to bring you in now. I want to talk to you about, we talked about the funding. So we know we have funding, we know we have programs, but we have to have businesses and people to help build this better community through weatherization. So I want you to talk about, from your entrepreneur's perspective, what you've seen in weatherization and how entrepreneurs can benefit.
Well, thank you. Entrepreneurs can benefit in the program by being available and being trained and certified to do the work. While it is important and a good source to have the federal and state funding, an entrepreneur, of course, has to be able to get the job done with the individual owner, those who don't get the federal and state funding, but the ones who can pay for the job themselves. So it's important. Three things I think is important: certification, relationships, and opportunity for an entrepreneur to build his company, his or her company, in this industry. Certification, the energy auditor, certified energy auditor, being able to assess a home or building and go in and look what needs to be done from their assessment to make that facility more energy efficient. Relationships like with Power Up or NC Warren or North Carolina State University, or even Piedmont Triad Regional Council, PTRC, the state weatherization point of contact here locally. Having those relationships give opportunity for a company to expand and work in different areas, work with different types of homes, work with different types of people. And of course, just the opportunity, you have to be able to gain that experience and advertise and of course market. You have to have a relationship with building employees and training employees to do the work that you want to get done out in the field.
So we talk about you have to have certification and of course relationships and collaborations as well as opportunity. But if I'm just looking for the work, can you expound on job training? As well as Monique and Yvette, if you know of opportunities as far as job training, what are we doing in this space of weatherization?
And it is, we have a good job training program when we bring employees on, especially on the weatherization crew side, of course, and then the certification of energy auditing is done on a statewide and even federal level, where there's a certification you have to go to and pay for certain training to be certified, and it's a recertification process every 3 years. For the weatherization crew, just doing the weatherization, that's not as strict and laid out as an educational program. It's done through on-the-job training with the company that's doing the energy performance. And we have a program, we think, when we bring an employee in, there's a certain amount of on-the-job training that they receive, and then we do 8-class training where we teach that individual about the whys and the process of what they're doing, so they'll understand. Not every situation is the same. Not every house is the same. But the intent for every house is to save energy. So we have to have employees who can go out and see what's going on in this particular house and know why they need to do what they're doing. So it can change up. They may close a foundation here. Well, not every foundation vent needs to be closed up because of this and because of that. So they have to understand that process, and we receive that or provide that training in-house. And each individual home performance contractor or energy performance contractor program where they can train their employees to go out and do weatherization.
So if I'm a contractor in my business, I'm an entrepreneur, and I have a business in within the space of weatherization, and we know we have funding for the programs for the homes. Are there grants or different things available for the entrepreneur?
We haven't run into any grants, just the opportunity of selling or providing that service gives us the money that we need to provide that training and to provide and to sustain the business. It is absolutely good, and it's been beneficial with the federal and state programs to provide that funding that we need. And of course, you have to include that being an entrepreneur in your work. You have to know your overhead, and you have to know what kind of expenses you're going to put out and what kind of training you're going to have to compensate for that. It's not just an all for profit. It is for profit, but it's not the profit making business. You have to reincorporate or reinvest your profit back into the company.
Okay. One last question for you, Rob. Let's talk about communities of color and what you are doing, some programs you may have, if any, to bring them into this job training.
Finding individuals who want to work in this type of career field has been a constant search over the years. We're actually gone through NC Works, we've gone through Indeed, we've gone through community programs to get employees in. A lot of them come in and stay. A lot of them come in and aren't satisfied with what they see and do. It's not a constant job. I mean, we don't definitely do 40 hours every week, depending on what kind of jobs we have and what kind of customers we have. You have to develop a passion for the job when you're an employee or you're a member or of the organization or you're an entrepreneur. You have to develop a passion, and that passion is going to sustain that individual through those low tide portions of the business and the 20 hours per week that you're doing rather than 40 hours per week. It is a good paying job once you come on board and get the training and have the years under your belt. And then, of course, having the aptitude to do these types of things. You're going into attics, you're going into crawl spaces. I mean, it's 90 degrees outside right now, and there are jobs to be done in an attic. You have to adjust, you have to work, you have to make yourself available to those types of things, which everyone's not used to. Everyone can do the job, but the opportunity is there if you have the passion, the training, and the understanding of what types of things you're actually doing.
Awesome. Monique or Yvette, do you have any ads about job training, what you guys are doing locally through Power Up?
Well, currently we ran was a pilot program. So we couldn't do it long term, but we were able to do it long enough to document it and be able to present it to our local cities to show them that this is something that's needed throughout the community and that this works. And I have much appreciation for Mr. Robert Rogers at URSA, because without that without that component to our pilot program, it couldn't have worked. A lot of the participants that came to complete those training sessions came from transitional housing, came from the Black and Brown communities that we actually selected the homes from. So this was a effort to be inclusive and inclusive in our outreach, and it was just really an experience. So.
Thank you. Yvette.
Yeah. When I got started in the work and working with Piedmont Triad Regional Council, a great group of people that, they've come in our communities and talked to members. We've had community members, we've had workshops so they can actually, ask the real questions and and they provide all the answers they need. And one thing that I thought, because we don't have the resources, where do we send someone except for Rob Rogers? If anybody's interested, I said this is the guy you need to see. But it would be great if the contractors, who got the work, through the agencies who get the grants, could and I know it's a burden for them, right? It's a bit of a burden, but it's kind of a win-win at the same time. You get to get people who are interested, but if the contractors could bring on a person who's interested in the job and take them under the wing for the duration of a project, that was an idea that I have. It takes thinking, deep thinking and processes to do that. But that's one of the ideas that I had. But right now, in the Triad area, we send anybody who's interested to Mr. Rogers.
All right, Mr. Rogers, they're sending them to you. Okay, Crystal, we want to bring you in. We want to talk to you. We've talked about weatherization. We've talked about the programs under the weatherization space. You are a benefit of these programs. So tell us more about your benefits and how it has inspired you to bring more awareness in your community.
Yes, well, it was a great experience for me. I benefited and my family as well. I think as far as raising awareness outside of just regular, advertisement, we all know that good news as well as bad news travels fast. And in my experiences, it's been all great news, and I've been, as a result, speaking with people in the community, people in my family, and I've also gotten several people to join on to the program, and they've had wonderful success stories. The downside is that, I've run into a few people who did not qualify because of the status of their home and the condition that their home was in at the time. And I feel that, if we work towards getting those, who are in a situation where they're not coming up to par to be able to qualify for that program. If we're able to help them and get more funding to get them up to par so they can participate, then there'll just be more success stories, and it breaks my heart to see certain people who really need the help not be able to qualify, because I've been so happy with the results. And so I just think that's a big portion of it, is getting more people involved, of course, spreading the word, but getting more people qualified.
Awesome. And, I think Crystal is a great testimony, Yvette and Monique, to the work that you're doing when you can take a person that's part of a program and then they become very passionate about the work and they start doing the work in the community. So thank you, Crystal. This is awesome. Good stuff there. Rob, I have a question. Got a question about, we hear green jobs, and anybody can really answer this, but we want to stop there. What is green jobs? What does that mean for someone that's listening, thinking, I kind of want to get involved, but can we expound on that a little bit more? The question is, what is green jobs?
I would say a green job in this industry is one that's reduces the carbon footprint. We're doing good things. We making equipment used in the homes more energy efficient, like the heating, ventilation, air conditioning, installing a 90% furnace rather than an old furnace that's burning a lot more fuel. A 90% furnace is going to be more energy efficient and burn less fuel, and it's set up to be green, if you will, good for the environment. Again, the closed ceiling houses and the basement vents, putting moisture protection in the crawl spaces, making that mold and mildew problem go away or be more controllable than what it has been. And that's what green is really is. I mean, there's some renewable energy aspects out there as well for solar and for using wind. Not every home is really set up yet for those type of things. And the idea, the concept behind that is that you want to make your home more energy efficient before you start investing in renewable energy. Renewable energy is at the top of the peak, top of the pyramid. You make your home energy efficient so that when that investment is required, you're putting it in, you know your house is energy efficient, you know your home is saving money, then it's worthwhile, that investment. So you don't want to start off with just solar at the beginning and you haven't had an energy assessment, you haven't done anything, you haven't put insulation in. That's what green comes out to be in as far as my definition goes.
Awesome. Anyone else want to expound on that?
Yeah, I wanted to add here, right? I think so often we've put these things in these separate camps, right? Like we have jobs over here, we have the environment over here, we have affordability and poverty over here, right? And we separate these all things out in their buckets. And I think that's what's exciting about this moment when we think about things like this Build Back Better agenda, and we think about things like green jobs, is starting to understand these things as interconnected, right? Like this is what we're hearing today on this whole call about weatherization, is that weatherization, it's a jobs program. It's a it's an environmental program. It's actually an anti-poverty program, right? That actually is going to lift up families out of poverty and strengthen folks in the middle class, right? It does all of those things together, and these things all fit together in a part of it. And right when we think about the big Build Back Better agenda and the act, right, we sometimes want to take things apart from each other. We have the child tax credit that's actually helping go put money and making that stretch out and making that last longer so it'll be permanent, so that people will keep getting money to help them support their kids. There's elements around jobs training. There's elements around weatherization. We put them into these like separate buckets as though they're separate things, but all of them are actually working together to help us build back better, to build the kind of communities we want, right? And so our climate programs are also anti-poverty programs. Our programs around child tax credits are also like the current programs that help people actually create a stable home, help people able to make those improvements to their home and have it all go together. All these pieces come together, right, to actually make it so that we can live more securely and with a sense of prosperity and an ability to make our own decisions and build stronger communities together. And that's what I think is exciting about this moment, is to stop bucketing these things out and say, oh, is it a jobs program, or is it a climate program, or is it an anti-poverty program? But that actually we can do all these things at once and strengthen our communities in holistic ways. Because we don't live a life where one moment we worry about, am I breathing clean air for our kids? Another worry, am I worried about, can I give my kids food? And another moment, am I worrying about, like, do we have like a safe roof and have like a stable house? We're worried about all those things at once. And what we need are solutions to all of those problems at the same time to help us live like strong and stable lives with our families, right? And so that's what's exciting to me about this moment and about weatherization, which really touches on all of those things.
Awesome. That's great, John. One of the questions was, what is weatherization, coming from the audience? And that was a great explanation. We have another question, and audience continue to give questions, but we have how long, and we'll do this two parts. John, I'll talk to you from the national side, and then Yvette or Monique. How long is the process from the national federal funding, and then Yvette and Monique on the local side? We had a question, how long is this process? Go ahead.
Okay. It depends. I think it can happen as quickly as 2 weeks. Rob may be able to add more information, but it depends on, the condition of the home when they go out to make the assessments. If any repairs or anything needs to be done, you're put on a wait list. And then I kind of lost my train of thought there, but the priority, for those with most in need, they will apparently move up, on that list. So it could happen as 2 weeks and, on out. So, and of course, it depends on the workload of the organization that has that program in your area as well.
Yeah, I agree with Yvette. For this region, we deal with action pathways. We're currently right now, if you put an application in within a week, they're out to your houses doing assessments, as long as you have all your paperwork and documentation filled out. So it could be as just like if I said 2 weeks. Now, some of that, if it takes longer, that's because you're whoever the client is taking longer with their documentation. Pam, you're muted.
Yeah, I'm coming off. We had another question about if the program is North Carolina based. I know we work, Yvette, you're covering the Triad, and Monique, you're in Fayetteville, but are there other cities? If someone's watching and they live in other cities, is this North Carolina based programs?
This is a federal program, so it is in all 50 states, in the U.S. territories and District of Columbia. So, if you Google Weatherization Assistance Program and the county and the state you're in, something will pop up about the Weatherization Assistance Program and how you can apply for it. Of course, you can go on the Department of Energy website and find information as well.
Great. Okay. There was another question. I'm going to ask that at the end. So we're going to go around. This has been an amazing discussion. So I just want to thank you guys again. It has been great, but we want to give you an opportunity in case there was something that you wanted to make sure that you shared with the audience that on a question that I didn't ask. So we're going to go around and give you like a minute to close us out and something that you would like to share and leave the audience with. We'll start with you, Crystal.
I just think this was an amazing experience, and I love the fact that we're being able to talk about it and raise more awareness. And I think that this definitely should not be the last time that we get together and we raise we talk about important issues such as this.
So. Awesome. Rob?
Thank you for the opportunity, and to kind of piggyback on the question prior to us coming in, you asked about statewide funding program. The Weatherization Assistance Program by the state is statewide, and they have several different county managers or regional managers like Piedmont Triad Regional Council for this area, which encompasses 13 counties in and around Guilford County that manage funding and the Weatherization Assistance Program. And a lot of homes are done, and the same thing with other counties or regions throughout Guilford County. And I think weatherization assistance and weatherization in general is a great opportunity. We need to do things that's going to make our home more energy efficient. I pay all this money out in utility bills when we can save it and invest it and put things into the home that's going to make our lives more comfortable when we go home and do the things around the house we need to do that we love to do. So it's a good opportunity, and I encourage everyone, whether it be through a program or individually, to look at opportunities in their home to make it more energy efficient and more livable.
Thank you. We have another question. Monique, I'm going to ask this question of you before you close us out. Someone wanted more clarity on the income requirements for the programs.
Well, it just depends. I don't have a bracket in front of me right now, but it goes on your family household size. As far as a single parent home, or if you have the more people in your home, the greater the income can be. But if you contact us locally, we could definitely get more in depth about the process of applying. Currently, we're actually doing, for this region, we're doing information sessions with action pathways, and they too cover at least 14 counties and throughout the southeastern region of North Carolina. They'll be coming out doing information sessions for participants and potential clients. And if you contact us locally, if you're in my region, look us up online, our numbers and office addresses, and we can talk more in depth about those requirements.
Okay. And so that's just looking up Power Up.
You can look up Power Up and see. We're on the North Carolina League of Conservation Voters website, and this is the Fayetteville office. So it's myself, and we have an organizer, Derek Hudson.
Okay. Okay. Monique, do you have any other things that you'd like to share to close us out?
Just I'm happy and very delighted that this whole topic came about. We have been working with weatherization for a long time, and it felt like we wasn't getting that spotlight and shine until this Build Back Better plan came, and hopefully now this will help us in our efforts to that when we reach out to these cities and businesses that they can provide more funding mechanisms to prioritize these type of programs because they work and it's like John said, all these little buckets are all together. Everything works together. You need those job pieces, you need those home pieces, and thank you for having this segment.
Thank you. Thank you. They work. That's right, Crystal. They work. Crystal is a great example that they work. Yvette, final words.
Yeah. I too want to say thank you for allowing us to share this information. And it is my hope that people will apply for this free program as it is now. Let's take advantage of that. Let's improve our lives. And I also wanted to bring to light that according to North Carolina WAP, 5 to 25% of homes that apply for the program are typically deferred. So Build Back Better would change so many lives to people who need it the most. But in the meantime, apply for that weatherization assistance program.
Awesome. Awesome. So John, final words. I'm going to throw out 3 buckets and I want you to close us out and kind of bring it all together. Clean energy, jobs, and justice.
Yeah, no pressure to put it all together.
No
after
pressure.
this,
No pressure at all.
First, let me just say thank you so much to the panelists. Thanks for all of you listening. Thanks for everyone who's working in North Carolina to move this work forward. It is just deeply meaningful and deeply important. And I do think programs like this are what inspired seeing this big action that's happening in DC right now, right? I think without the work happening in North Carolina, we're not seeing the kind of change that happens. But we've got to actually push it over the finish line. And that's what we're talking about now with Build Back Better. It's a bill about jobs, clean energy, and justice, right, that we've talked about today. And so what can you do to help push this forward and make sure that it's big enough? Make sure that we actually meet this moment, the multiple crises we face, to make sure that our communities get everything they need, from the climate crisis to actually reducing poverty, to strengthening the middle class, to building strong jobs, right? How can we do all of those things right now? It's by making sure that this full investment of the Build Back Better Act goes into law. And so please, this is going to be happening over the next 45 days. Contact your members of Congress. Thank them, all those Democratic members who voted for this, thank them for pushing it forward and say, now let's get this done. And tell them what you've heard about weatherization today. Tell them about the impact in your life and the opportunity and the need. Share your story and make sure that they understand that this isn't just about some numbers in DC and trying to lob off some billions here or there, but it's about actually doing real things for real people and strengthening our families and our communities right now. So I just appreciate it. Write your member of Congress, call your member of Congress, and let them know the importance of these programs.
Awesome. Thank you, John. Thank you to everyone on the panel. You guys are amazing. Continue to be change agents for a better community. And so now I'm getting ready to call up another change agent. He is our state director, and he's going to close us out, Mr. Luther Hemby.
Thank you. On behalf of Power to Vote and Power Up, both projects of North Carolina League of Conservation Voter Foundation, we have thoroughly enjoyed this Lunch and Learn segment on empowering communities through weatherization. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all of our panelists. You are truly a gift and champions for our climate and our environment. Please continue to share today's Zoom with your networks And you can continue to follow us on our page and like us. And you can see all of our current and our past work. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you. Enjoy your day.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.